Hey, what up, guys? So coming to you now with the June 15th weekend recap. What all the fights that happened last week. We're going to talk about 5 different fights between 3 main events. So, our 3 different cards. So, should be pretty interesting. Let's kick it off with, we'll go lowest to highest, but ended up probably being maybe the best back and forth fight of the weekend. And that was on ESPN Plus. And I actually missed this fight, but it was Josh Warrington's 12-round split decision win over undefeated mandatory number 1 contender Kid Galahad. This was a domestic rivalry, both guys from the United Kingdom. Warrington, my number 2 featherweight in the world, making his, second defense of his world title. He's coming off the biggest win of his career, beating Carl Frampton last December. Taking on undefeated Galahad, kind of unknown, but, really known around England, and ended up being a lot better fight than I was expecting. But Galahad, it was a good back and forth fight. From what I heard, neither guy could really gain a big time advantage, and that's why Warrington escaped with the 12-round split decision. I say escaped, but I mean that it was close, not like there was a robbery here. I do want to try to go back and watch this fight, but I don't know if this is a testament of how good or bad Warrington really is, or how good Kid Galahad might be. Kid Galahad's definitely going to get a top 5 spot probably now because of this strong performance against who I think is the number 2 fighter at 126 right now, and deservingly so. In Warrington, he beat Lee Selby. Should have been convincing. They called it a split decision last year. He dominated Carl Frampton, and now he's he's defeated Kid Galahad, an undefeated mandatory number 1 contender. Call that what you will. So, so I think Galahad really proved himself. Warrington had to fight hard and held on to his world title, so congrats to him. Next up, we're going to look at the DAZN doubleheader that took place. We'll start with the co-feature, which was Yunior Dorticos against Andrew Tabiti in the semifinals of the World Boxing Super Series Season 2. This was for the IBF Cruiserweight Championship, so it was cruiserweight fight. You had Tabiti, the number 4 fighter at cruiserweight, against I'm sorry, he's not the number 4. Tabiti was my number 9 cruiserweight in the world, taking on my number 4 cruiserweight in the world and former champ Yunior Dorticos. Now that day, I even missed it. I caught it when I started watching it. There was the announcement that Usyk had vacated the IBF title, so that belt became vacant, and it went on the line between these two. So it ended up being a title fight, which is huge thing for this fight, for the semifinal. They're not just competing for the Ali Trophy, trying to become a world champion. Dorticos trying to reclaim his crown against Tabiti, who's trying to become a new world champ. And, Dorticos went out there and just outworked Tabiti. Tabiti, just seemed to play defense and want to try to stay, survive in there is really what he was doing, because he wasn't doing much damage. When he did throw his combinations and stuff, he landed here and there, but Dorticos' power was noticeable. Tabiti was really trying to get out of the way of a lot of Dorticos' power shots, because, I think some of the shots that were landing were hurting him. And Dorticos just kept grinding and coming forward and coming at him. He did not let up. It was pretty much a one-sided fight heading into the 10th round. And then he caught Tabiti with a picture-perfect right hand on the chin. And Tabiti just laid him out flat, knocked him out cold. Great win, great knockout. Biggest of Dorticos' career, as he becomes a 2-time world champion and now punches his ticket to the finals of the World Boxing Super Series. So great performance for Dorticos. Congrats to him. Hopefully Andrew Tabiti's okay. Getting to the semifinals was a big deal for him. No shame in losing to a guy like Dorticos. And, we'll see what he does going forward. But good performance by the new champ, Yunior Dorticos. Now in the main event, you had Mairis Briedis taking on Krzysztof Glowacki, challenging him for the WBO Cruiserweight title, as Alexander Usyk vacated all his belts. Glowacki coming in was the interim WBO champion, so when Usyk vacated his belt, Glowacki got upgraded to full champ. They were supposed to fight for the vacant WBC title, but I guess, according to the WBC, the World Boxing Super Series did not, factor in their rules of fighting for a world title. It was some kind of drama. So that title was not at stake, but the WBO title was. Briedis was the number 1 seed going in against Glowacki, the number 3 seed. And this ended up being a controversial fight. First round was kind of a feeling out round. And then the second round, things just exploded. Apparently, when they were clinching, Glowacki threw a punch behind the head. It wasn't a hard one, though. I think it just pissed off Briedis, and Briedis decided to elbow Glowacki in the face. Glowacki went down from this elbow, and it really hurt him, and I think it did. So the referee, because of the blatant elbow, deducted a point from Briedis. Now, the referee should have given Glowacki time to recover, because whenever a low blow or intentional foul happens, you're supposed to give the guy who got hurt, you're supposed to give him 5 minutes to recover. If he does not choose to use that whole 5 minutes, that's on the fighter. Robert Byrd, veteran referee, did not do that. He forced Glowacki to still fight. Glowacki, being a brawler, was pissed off and decided to start swinging on Briedis. This ended up being a mistake, especially against a guy like Briedis who likes to sit back and counterpunch. That's exactly what he did. He caught Glowacki, dropped him with a right hand, and was teeing off on him. Then Robert Byrd fucks up again because the bell starts ringing, and for some reason the guy who's ringing the bell continues to ring the bell nonstop for about 10 seconds, and Robert Byrd does not jump in and stop it while Glowacki is still getting hit with big bombs. And the round should have been stopped. He should have had a chance to recover. He barely made it back to his corner because he was getting hit with punches after the bell, because the referee never stopped the round. So he's already groggy, he's already hurt. Then going into the third, he was, you could tell it was pretty much there. Briedis just took his time in the third, and it didn't take too long because Glowacki was still hurt. Caught him again, hurt him, dropped him, knocked him out, and that was it. Briedis became a 2-time world champ, WBO champion now. He was fighting at home in Latvia. Now he's in the finals of the World Boxing Super Series against Junior Dorticos, which will be a unification bout. But a lot of controversy here. Third round knockout should not have happened that way. Glowacki's people are already going to file a protest with the World Boxing Super Series, with the WBO, and with the Latvian Boxing Federation, or whatever the hell that's called. And I don't know what's going to happen from this, but I really thought it was bullshit. I was very upset with it. I was yelling at my phone because I was watching it on my phone. I was yelling at my phone watching this shit because it was just ridiculous the way the referee handled this fight. Maybe it would have ended that way anyways, but I really don't think so. I think that elbow had a big impact. He should have had a chance to recover. And also, the ref should have stopped the fight, or stopped the round way earlier, so he wasn't taking any more punishment when he was already noticeably hurt. So I think the referee really hurt Glowacki himself. He caused him to get hurt even more. And it was just very poor decision making by a 73-year-old referee who's way past his prime. So that's it for that one. We'll see what goes down, but entertaining and controversial DAZN card right there with the World Boxing Super Series semifinals. Now we'll go to the big ESPN card. The co-feature was Sullivan Barrera against Jesse Hart in a big light heavyweight crossroads battle. Barrera's coming in, just signing a new contract with Top Rank, trying to get himself back in for a world title shot against Jesse Hart, 2-time world title challenger. His only 2 defeats came to the same man, Gilberto Ramirez. He was coming off of the second loss to Ramirez, a close majority decision loss in their rematch after losing a close unanimous decision the first time. So Jesse Hart, moving up to 175, was trying to make an impression. He was the younger of the two. I called him to win this fight, and he came through. He outworked Barrera, hurt him a couple times during the fight. I think scored a flash knockdown. Barrera also hurt him, though, in the third or fourth round, but They went the distance to 10 rounds, and Jesse Hart got a convincing and deserving 10-round unanimous decision, the biggest win of his career. Really puts him in line for a lot of big things because Top Rank owns light heavyweight. And we're going to see what happens. Barrera, tough defeat. Might be the end of the line for him. But he did sign a new contract with Top Rank, so maybe he still gets in there and bangs away. I still think he's good enough to compete. I just obviously don't think he's at the top level at light heavyweight anymore. But good performance from Jesse Hart. And now the main event, Tyson Fury against undefeated Tom Schwartz. I mean, Fury looked great. I mean, he dominated an unknown fighter and put him away quickly. Second round knockout. I think he really needed to look good. He did that. His counterpunching was on point. And his power, he showed a display of his power and knocked out Tom Schwartz with ease. And now, he's looking forward to September or October return. And then after that, the rematch with Deontay Wilder early next year. So I hope Tyson Fury takes on somebody solid in his next fight. I believe he will. We'll get into that when we talk about the what's next. But really no surprise, not much to talk about. It was an impressive performance against a nobody heavyweight. And Fury went out there and blitzed his ass and got him out of there. So a lot of good things, a lot of boxing over the weekend, a lot of big-time boxing. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this. That was a weekend recap from June 15th. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.